Are you afraid?
It was just another late shift, another brutal closing, another 2 hours on the night bus, and then the subway home. I worked security at a downtown office building, and the last train, the Red Line, was my only real option after 2 a.m. Usually there'd be a scattering of other lost souls on the platform, but this night felt different. Utterly deserted. I shivered, pulling my thin jacket tighter. The cold always seemed to seep into these underground stations. The air was heavy, damp, with that metallic tang common to old tunnels. The digital clock above the tracks updated 2:18 a.m. My train was due in 3 minutes. I checked my phone for reception, but it was, as always, a dead zone down here. I walked slowly down the platform, looking for a drier spot. The rain had been relentless all day, and water always found its way in. As I passed one of the large support pillars, I noticed something odd. On the ground, propped against the base, was a small, ornate hand mirror, the kind you'd expect to find on a vanity table. It looked entirely out of place, almost like a prop from another era. Someone must have dropped it, I thought. I glanced around again. Still no one. The clock clicked to 2:19 a.m. I picked it up, curious. The glass felt cold, smooth. My own tired face looked back at me, framed by the tarnished silver. As I held it, a strange sense of unease washed over me. It was irrational, I knew. Just a mirror. But something about finding it here, at this hour, on this deserted platform, felt off. I told myself I'd hand it in to the station attendant if I saw one, but even as the thought formed, I knew it was unlikely. No attendants at this hour? With a shrug, I placed the mirror face down on a nearby metal bench. No point carrying it, and it felt disrespectful to just leave it shattered on the tracks. I walked back towards the middle of the platform, pulling my phone out again, just in case. Still nothing. The silence was thick, pressing in. The low rumble started then, a faint vibration that traveled up through the concrete. My train. Finally. I peered into the dark mouth of the tunnel, expecting to see the familiar single headlight of the approaching train. But the rumble didn't grow louder as it should have. Instead, it stayed at the same low, vibrating hum. I frowned. This wasn't right. The sound was steady. Like a sustained chord, rather than an accelerating train. It wasn't getting closer, it was just there. And it wasn't coming from the tunnel at all. It was coming from behind me. I slowly turned, my heart starting to thump an anxious rhythm against my ribs. The platform was still empty. Or was it? Near the metal bench where I'd left the mirror, something was shimmering. It wasn't a trick of the light. It was like heat haze, except the air was bitterly cold. As I stared, the shimmering solidified, just slightly. It was roughly person-shaped, though impossibly tall and thin. The faint outlines of what looked like filthy, pale hospital garments became visible, clinging to a form with a torso unnaturally elongated and segmented, whose pale skin visibly rippled beneath the cloth. It was standing directly in front of the bench. It was facing away from me, towards the wall. Its form was unsettlingly angular. Underneath the stretched and dirty hospital gown, I could discern that its torso was not one solid piece, but divided into too many distinct, rigid segments, like an insect's abdomen, and its skin. It was visibly rippling, as if something was constantly moving beneath it, even through the cloth. It was standing directly over the hand mirror I'd placed face down on the bench. My blood ran cold. I hadn't noticed it until it materialized there. Had it been there all along, somehow camouflaged by the flickering lights and the shadows? I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I wanted to run, but my feet felt cemented to the concrete. Every instinct screamed at me to get away, but a strange, terrifying curiosity, or perhaps just sheer terror, kept me rooted. The air around the thing felt heavy, like static electricity before a storm. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, the entity began to turn its head. It wasn't looking at me, not directly. It was looking at the bench, at the mirror. As it moved, the visibly rippling pale skin on its neck became more pronounced. Then, with a movement that was too fluid, too deliberate, it reached down. Its hand, long and thin, with the same unsettling, visibly rippling pale skin beneath the surface, picked up the mirror. The filthy sleeve of its hospital garment stretched taut over its arm as it did, revealing the rippling skin beneath. It held the mirror up, not facing me, but facing itself. The angle was just right, that in the tarnished silver I could see a reflection, but it wasn't a face. It was just a bottomless, dark void that seemed to absorb the dim light of the platform, a deeply sunken, shadowed hollow where a face should have been. My breath hitched in my throat. I stumbled backward, making a small, involuntary sound. The sound echoed in the silence of the platform, amplified by the sudden drop in the low hum. The humming had stopped. The entity turned. Its unnaturally elongated and segmented body swiveled with an unnatural stiffness. It was looking at me now, or at least the bottomless dark void where its face should have been was oriented towards me. The visibly rippling pale skin beneath its garment seemed to intensify, like water boiling just beneath the surface. Then, slowly, it extended its arm, holding the mirror out towards me. The tarnished silver reflected the flickering platform lights, but in its center, the bottomless, dark void of its face remained. It was an invitation, or a warning. Just then, a faint, rhythmic clang resonated from the tunnel. A different sound. My train. Finally. The entity held the mirror, unmoving, still offering it. The bottomless, dark void in the reflection seemed to deepen, to draw me in. I didn't think. I didn't hesitate. I turned and ran, not towards the exit, but towards the approaching clang of the train, towards any escape from that silent platform and the thing that waited there with its mirrored void. I didn't look back. I jumped onto the train just as the doors hissed shut, my heart hammering against my ribs. I pressed myself against the window, staring out into the receding darkness of the tunnel. I don't know if it was still there, if it ever was, but I left that mirror on the bench, and I've never touched anything abandoned on a subway platform again. And I always take an earlier train now. Always.